Hello, team, and welcome back to another Line Warcast. This is your map. It's a 3v3 today on the main branch of Line War because the beta has been released. There's an upcoming tournament from March 20th to 26th, I believe it's scheduled. Not sure if it's entirely confirmed, but it's going on. Exciting times in Line War. On Alpha Team, someone said that my nickname sucks in blue, Notorious Nubs in red, Alex Donald Roland in orange, and on Bravo Team, Bigler in teal, Crimson Giant in pink, and Romad Quantum Scientist in green. So here we go. Alpha Team in blue. Spawning, two of them are right here in the center. It's going to be Nubs and Nickname right beside each other, and then their teammate Alex Donald Roland in the top right. Nickname hasn't built any buildings yet. That's why we haven't heard anything go down. Here come the first buildings. Nubs goes for 5 barracks. We can see the vision of Alpha Team at the moment, so they know that Bigler is in the mountains here. Rather, they know where Bigler is gone, but the buildings are actually hidden because of that stealth bonus that mountains give. Nubs is getting into it immediately with Bigler. We saw that Nickname's going for some factories and airport. A little bit of economy for Nubs. Alex Nolan rolling, going for some eco, some barracks. 3 barracks and end of factory. And in the top left is Crimson Giant, who's gone for 4 factories and getting an energy well immediately, or a refinery. So it's going to be 4 tank from pink. And in the very bottom, this is Romad. Romad's actually gone for this cross pick with this 4 industry town, which could be upgraded to a city relatively quickly, and then a barracks on the mainland. And this will be a very strong position for Bigler to defend in the mountains. Mountains are great defensive positions to take. Alpha Team going for some more economy, with Orange going for this port in the top right. And really, when we look at it, Crimson is a little bit boxed in, or surrounded rather, by Alpha Team. So I think it's going to be a question of whether Crimson can stay alive up here and allow Romad to slowly build up. Romad's going for a city, so that's going to take a while to pay off economically, but when it does, Bravo Team is going to have a bunch of money. Still just infantry skirmishes on the left side. Here come the first tanks for Crimson, who can probably start to run about 10 tanks maybe off of 1 refinery, a little bit less if they're always going. So look for Pink to take another refinery relatively quickly. Nickname's artillery pieces are showing up to help out Nubs. And a little bit of a fight in the mountains here. Romad's infantry is caught up with Bigler, so it's Bigler and Romad taking on Nickname, who's getting a good foothold in the mountains, which will be important. As we mentioned earlier, these mountain ranges are such great places to dig in. The units that are dug in have a added bonus to their stats. And Nub's still on 5 barracks going for this town, and an airport's on the way. These tanks from Crimson are going to be very dangerous. They're heading right for this oil well, pardon me. But we'll recognize that it's not there, and they really could snipe this airport. Nickname's starting to pull some infantry back to help deal with this. But this many tanks with an airport at this point, yeah, Nubs is even going to just destroy it immediately to start saving the upkeep of building the thing. Because that is most certainly dead. Those tanks would destroy it super quickly. Some artillery pieces now for Crimson, and a barracks on the way. A battle of attrition here on the left-hand side with these infantry. Bigler's starting to dig in kind of close to the mountain range, so this is pretty good. Blue has a sizable number of artillery that's going to slowly be able to push into the mountains. Or at least make sure that Nubs does not die here. First helicopter out for Nickname. This is going to do a great job to start dealing with these tanks, although Nubs might lose another town, because this is a lot of tanks. And Crimson still has the energy to be doing this. Some more eco for Orange in the top right. And I don't think that Nubs or Nickname are directly at risk of being knocked out of the game here, even though it's a decent amount of tanks. It certainly is a little bit of a setback for Nubs to be losing that town. But these factories are in the forest. It'll be tough for the tanks to, for one thing, find these factories. I doubt they see them. They might at this point see them, just because of earlier, all the infantry that was here. So they're going to dive on the factory. Likely will at least get one of them. That helicopter is going to get great value for blue over time. Nickname digging in the artillery around Nubs' buildings. If you lose all of your buildings in the game, then you are knocked out of the game in general. 3 factories in another town for Romad, who continues to play greedy and gets a dock in the bottom left. And we'll be able to push away Nickname's infantry in the bottom right here. And here comes the first factory for red. Orange and pink now getting into it, which is really good for red and blue here, because these tanks aren't going to be able to bug them as much anymore. Pink is going to have to focus a little bit on orange. Orange's economy is going to be pretty decent, given the start with that town and that port. Red is likely going to lose a barracks. The artillery is doing a great job to... I mean, they're the best unit, really, against infantry. Especially when they're dug in. But at a certain point, there's just so many infantry that it doesn't really matter. They're going to be able to kill it. But if Bigler's not careful and pushes a little bit too hard, there's a chance that red and blue is going to be able to counter-push into the mountains, even though it'll take a big effort. These tanks likely can't see this airport, and it hasn't been spotted, is why they're just driving by. The forest gives an added stealth bonus to any buildings that are inside of it. You can see that in some of the... It's explained in some of the tutorials that were added in this latest release. For a line where they look great, they have a bunch of information that... I mean, you can be playing the game for quite a while, and it'll still be new, so you can check those out. And more industry for Orange, who kind of lost the battle here. This is a little bit scary, but ultimately Pink is going to have to push into a forest if they're going to get aggressive. And as mentioned, forests and mountains are just great defensive positions. So Nubs is stabilizing a little bit, will lose this factory. These 2 tanks are on top of it. A change in this release is that tanks, when they're firing, they do consume energy. They will continue to shoot even if they're out of energy. And they're out of energy because of this great snipe by Alex. Donald Roland in the top. Crimson is starting to rebuild the refinery, but that's a great play for Alpha Team. Nubs does lose 1 factory, so Nubs is definitely getting a little bit handicapped on the buildings lost at this point. And immediately rebuilds another factory in the forest. The beep beep we hear is that blue is almost out of gas. Here comes a power plant for Nickname to keep these helicopters flying. It's a big asset that blue has right now. Although Romad's SAM count is starting to grow, with 2 more on the way to add to the 3 already built. This is, I would say, a little bit precarious for Orange, except for the fact that these commandos are doing such a great job. And they get another refinery, which is buying a lot of time because Pink can't move these tanks. Crimson's got 2 more barracks up there, and is by no means at risk of losing or anything. But I'm kind of surprised that Nickname still is able to invest this much infantry down here and hasn't lost them all yet. So we can go top-down view if we scroll all the way out. Blue, Alpha Team. That kind of green is Bravo Team, so Alpha definitely seems to have more of the map territory-wise. This city for Romad is going to generate a lot of economy, though, and Romad continues to go for some more industry. So Green's army is going to grow relatively large over time. And it's the top that is a very interesting situation. So Crimson now gets one of the refineries up. These two commandos are getting a great scout of all the buildings that Pink has. So Alpha Team now knows what the situation is. Orange going for another town. And slowly, a play for Alpha Team is to get this trade route up on the right-hand side. There's actually another town over here on this little island. We probably could look for nicknaming at some point to commando drop using transport planes. But at the moment with teal and green getting so aggressive, clearly the priority is at home here. Nickname's got helicopters going up to the north to help out Orange. There's still no SAMs for Pink. There's no real reason why Crimson would necessarily be going for SAMs, because these helicopters were generally down in the south for the longest time. But at this point, given Green's SAM numbers, Romad has 8 of them on the field now. It'll be tough for the helicopters to do anything in the south here. Great push from all this infantry from Nubs. It's gonna be tough for Nubs and Nickname to push through this mountain range, though. So I'm not sure if they're gonna do it. We'll have to see. Rocket on the way for Romad, and this is clearly the plan. There's a huge mass of units here. So Romad is building up a rocket to deal with it. The tanks are starting to move, and Crimson is going to get 2 gases secured. And that's big trouble for Orange. And Orange doesn't have any gas, so there's no real way. I mean, there is this one here that could be capped, but that's pretty dangerous gas to take. And probably wouldn't live all that long. So it's tough for Orange because they can't get tanks to counter all the tanks that Pink has. So the helicopters from Nickname are going to be really important to help out. They're going to dive on this one factory, and they will get it. So the helicopters for Nickname are actually just going to snipe these gases. This is a great play. And Nubs now has a barracks in the top left, building commandos, and even a factory in the back here. And we hear the docks go down, or pardon me, the ports, so this is getting connected. Tanks do take out one of the factories from Orange. This will give a lot of economy for Alpha Team once those merchant ships start to move. And still a big battle in these mountain ranges. There is a timer here for Alpha Team because this rocket, I think it takes, what, 7 minutes or something to build a rocket? And if those get big hits, it could be a game changer, clearly. Another gas gets sniped. This might be the difference in the game. Crimson's going for SAMs to deal with these helicopters. But a great coordinated attack from Nickname and Alex Donald rolling in the north to make it so that Crimson still can't go for tanks without having any of that gas. Good counter push from Bravo Team in the south. If this position breaks, I think that Nickname and Nubs are in some trouble. There's a lot of production here for Bravo Team. Romad still has this city working for them, is beginning to push and make progress on this, like, eastern flank. And for now it looks relatively even there. It's the north we have to keep looking at. Crimson's killed now like 3 buildings in this forest. Orange continues to build the, buildings in reserve to buy some time, which is a great play. Another barracks in the top left. And over time, Alpha Team's going to have enough commandos to just backstab this position. So really, Bravo Team needs to get past Nubs and Nickname here. So the rocket is going to be key. It's now on the stand. It's 1/3 of the way done. But is Pink going to be able to hold out long enough to see the rocket even get shot? These commandos are just chilling in this forest. It's a great play. Another factory for Crimson, who's probably just going to go for artillery sandball, since the gas is such a sketchy situation. And Robot is making their way with the Navy to the right-hand side to potentially deny this port. I think it's anyone's guess who's winning this game right now. And if I'm wrong, then get at me in the comments and say, yo, you know what? At 25 minutes into the game, I knew that this was over. Here come the commandos for blue to try to get by and potentially cause havoc down here. They would be able to kill this gas from Romad, who's going to slowly start getting a gas requirement by how many boats are moving, and now this airport on the way. Rather, this is Bigler's airport, so I take that back. But the boats are definitely expensive. There needs to be 20 energy for Romad to fire this rocket. That is a requirement. And still, that front line in the mountains doesn't really move. This is a lot of units for Orange and a lot of helicopters for Nickname that can continue to support. So one of the problems here is that Crimson kind of has to keep a SAM count, but every SAM that's built is one less artillery piece to deal with this enormous Orange army that's showing up. And as mentioned before, if Pink loses all their buildings, then the game is de facto over. It's very difficult to come back in the team game when you lose one of your teammates. Rocket is 2/3 of the way done. And great play from Crimson to take out this town. It's going to be very close. And it does go down. Helicopters now for Nickname are in the south to push against Romad. And here come a sizable number of artillery pieces for Nubs, and this might be enough to tip it. And it'll be very difficult for Crimson to put down a building here that isn't just immediately killed. These commandos are still over here. There's really no room to build on the, you know, the left side of where Pink has started. The rocket isn't going to be quite done. It's nearly complete building. And then there's that insufferable delay when the rocket has the cone on it, but it's still putting on the final touches. That seems to take forever. Or rather, it always seems like when you need to fire a rocket, it feels like it's ready, but it's not, and then it's part of the fun of trying to pull off a rocket play. So Crimson is now going to be knocked out of the game. Unless Crimson can get somewhere to secure one territory, probably Pink is going to put down a barracks somewhere here. If Crimson has the money to do so. But this is very tough. So here, the rocket is complete as a unit. Let's see where Romad decides to fire it. These helicopters are definitely going to be able to destroy that refinery. It's right at Nubs' buildings. It's going to kill all 4 barracks. So there's going to be no more red infantry because this is going to get cleared up. Great play with those tanks to destroy one of Nickname's producers. And an even bigger play is that Romad snipes this town, which stops this trade route from going. And this is Crimson's last building. And that's tough. I mean, this is a great play. So now Bravo team gets the push. I think this actually is kind of close, potentially. If this push goes really well for Bravo team, it could be the sort of game where a 2v3 happens. But it's very, very difficult. There's now a decent amount of SAMs in the south. As long as they don't get taken out, they'll do decent against these blue helicopters. And Bigler has some helicopters of their own. There's no SAMs for Alpha Team here yet. More buildings in the back for Nubs just to make sure that they don't die in this situation. In case these buildings fall. It's a very strong defensive line for Alpha Team. And unfortunately, I think really now actually Orange just shows up with the entire army. Because it's not like there's any more capping to do in the north. So all these units just get to be combat units. Yeah, coming back for when you lose a teammate in a team game, it is very difficult. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Remad's gonna get that dock. We'll get this town and port. But it's really not gonna matter. The second rocket always shows up quicker than the first because of that, how much time it takes to build that launch pad. So maybe with continuous rockets, Romad and Bigler could do this, but they'll need to find economic spots. And really, there's no other economy to take. I mean, these two industries, but clearly, I mean, Nickname's standing on one of them. And then here comes Orange. Nub's going for more eco. Nickname going for eco. Orange going for eco, which is the play. When they knock out Crimson like that, you're kind of guaranteed that your opponents aren't going to be able to push you as hard anymore, so you can go for some economy. New animations on the airplanes getting shot down look wonderful. And here, let's try this free camera thing. Holy cow, this is it. This is it. This is how we cast from now on. Okay, we got a rocket somewhere. Where is this? Here it is. Holy cow. Tooltip on the mountain, love it. And it's going right at this town. And I think that's GG. I'm glad we caught that in free camera. I hope you enjoyed the cast. We're going to check out some graphs. I mean, it was very close until Crimson got knocked out. That's the new release for Line War. If you'd like to learn more about the game or just chat with folks, ask questions, find games, check out the Line War Discord. Hope you folks have a wonderful night, day, evening, whatever it is. We'll see you soon. Peace.